Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to show you guys. This is the new Tactile Rockwall flipper, the larger one. They don't call it like the flipper, the Rockwall Flipper 2 or the Rockwall Flipper L or anything like that. They just say it's the new larger one. So this is now larger than their original knife, which was the Rockwall Flipper. I had always thought that their original was the thumb stud version, which we're going to talk about here, but apparently it was the flipper. I'm just not up on my Tactile lore here. But this is a really cool knife, and it is a small shop, all in-house USA build. They do all the hand assembling and all the special materials, the super premium machine, all of that. And honestly, for what it is, I'm not saying it's the, it's an inexpensive knife. It's definitely not. But for what it is, and when we compare it to realistic competition, I think the price tag is pretty good. I will link this down in the description so that you guys can check it out. I think there's still some available. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's up to you. Thanks to Tactile for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's go ahead and measure it right off the bat before we do size comparisons. Overall length is coming in at, they said 7.9, and that's exactly what it is, 7.9 inches. Blade length is about 3.35. Cutting edge is also about 3.35. Is that, how did I end up with that measurement there? Is that right? Yeah, it is. Okay. Maybe 3.4 on 3.4, 3.45, and then 3.35 for cutting edge. Size comparisons. Let's put it up against the standard version of the towel. Put it, the camera's slightly angled, right? So whatever is on bottom is appearing much larger than it actually is. It's just slight angling to help with lighting, but yeah. So there you go. This knife got carried a lot and actually helped me with a couple of examples, questions people might have about carrying these knives over a long period of time. But this knife was a knife that I had as like my one of my dedicated, like, take it to church, take it to dinner, put it in, my pants while I'm playing golf. Just put it in my pocket while I'm playing golf. It was a lighter, compact carry knife, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I still do, right? But this knife saw a lot of use. Now, this knife has been carried, just in preparation for this review, and I have very much enjoyed it. In fact, there's a lot of things that I like more and some things I like less. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so it's definitely bigger is what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness, not that at all. No. Other size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others, up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur. So it is a much larger knife now versus the original, but it's not a large knife. Up against these two, these are larger knives, obviously not. But I still wouldn't describe this as a small knife. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2. And I'm going to put this 8010 away so I don't poke myself with it. And up against the Spyderco Parrot 3. Somewhere in between, but it's worth pointing out that it does have quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but it's got more cutting edge than the Spyderco PM2. And let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action? It's all right. But that was one of the things I was like, man, like I need to put, so I did actually after a bit, because I was waiting for it to break in, I did go ahead and put some KPL in there, and I feel like it's better. But I was like, I wonder if the action ever broke in on my old one. This is a really thin blade, but you can see there, it's nice and smooth. This did break in really, really nicely. So I cannot remember what this knife was like when I got it brand new, but it's not just the fall shuttiness, but like it wore that race in to the bearing track. That's what happens there. If it starts out a little bit, this isn't bad, but you can just, here, listen. See what I mean? That's what's happening. It's wearing that track in. Now, do we all like to have it feeling super duper buttery smooth for right out of the gate? Sure. I don't think that this is running directly on coating. It's likely that area is not coated, but I think that basically it's just working its way in. So it's audible, like I can hear it kind of, but it's not gritty and it's not bumpy, right? Doesn't feel over tightened from the factory. all signs point to it's going to get better. And there's no double clutch, a little bit of encouragement, and it will just sort of come down. I did, as you can see there, we're close, but not double clutch. I did start to develop slight lock stick, but it's only periodic. Sometimes it's there, and sometimes it's non-existent. So I have a feeling that the lock bar is also working itself in. But as far as the pivot smoothness, yeah, it's okay. It'll get better. Flipper tab, super duper tiny, low profile, and a little pointy. So when you go to deploy it, it functions just fine because the D10 is tuned properly. Feels great. I would light switch it, not push button it. Since this is a nested liner lock, you don't have to worry about where to put your hands. But if you like to sit there and fidget with your knife, 5 to 10 flips, and you're going to be like, gosh, that flipper tab is pointy, right? I kind of wish that they would make a thumb stud version. But then also on that note, the thumb stud version is not necessarily the most comfortable thing in the world because the cutout needs to be a little bit lower to, comfortably engage with this thumb stud, which should also probably be domed and not ledged, right? Almost 90-degree ledge right there in this like barrel thing. So we're getting really nitpicky with like how comfortable it is on my little fingies, right? I mean, but yeah, a lot of us do sit there and watch TV and fidget with these things. So it's something to think about. Carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Pair 3. This is a nice and thin. In fact, how is it compared to the original? I think it's actually, or not the original, but the smaller guy. I think it's actually slightly thinner. If it is, it's ever so slight. Length and height up against the PM2 and Pair 3. This is where this guy shines. I can't say that when I put this in my pocket, it feels that much bigger than this guy, but it is. This is a ridiculously easy object to carry. And if you're somebody who does wear fitted pants a lot, but you like bigger knives, it can be a little bit difficult to find something that sort of fits the bill. But this is a way to do that. I mean, this is essentially a full-size knife that carries like something that is far, far smaller, which is not what I like to carry all the time, but it's definitely something that I do like to carry or that I need to carry periodically. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. So this is a T8, and I know this because I think I actually need to do it again. I've had to adjust the pivot a little bit, and I just need to Loctite it, right? Some people, when they buy a knife, if the pivot backs out, they're like, oh my God, I have to send it back. Oh, this is unacceptable. And I'm going to tell you something. If that's you, this is your destiny. You're going to be that old man sitting on his porch yelling at anybody who gets anywhere near his yard, and you're also going to yell at clouds that are not shaped exactly the way that you would see fit if you were the cloud master, if you're the one making the clouds. That's what you're going to do. You're going to turn into a meme, right? So when a pivot backs out from the factory during use, people see that as a flaw. It's just an opportunity to Loctite it into exactly the right place. What you do not want to be the case is too much blue Loctite. It's worse how Spyderco used to do it, red Loctite. They used to do this from the factory and make it almost impossible to adjust. So then if you had crappy centering or crappy action from the factory, guess what? Now you get to fight it, right? And people will say, well, the answer is Loctite it perfectly every single time. Make sure the action's perfect and make sure the lockup is perfect on every single knife. Easier said than done. I would prefer that they just don't Loctite it, and then we just, whatever comes, it's like, oh, if it backs out, okay, well, then I'm going to get it set up exactly the way that I want. I'm going to Loctite it, and then it'll be perfect. Then I get to control that. I like that. I prefer that. So it doesn't really bother me that this, pivot, it probably backs out like once every, few hundred flips. So it just needs to be Loctited, and that's okay with me. T8 for the pivot. And then we also have T8 for the body screws. So that's nice. There's another screw in there holding the pocket clip in, but very, very simple construction. And as long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go taking it apart. Let's measure the blade stock thickness real quick. I actually don't know if it's thinner than the original. 97 thousandths. And the original is, or the smaller one, is also 97 thousandths. Okay, so there you go. Weight. Did we do weight? Probably not. What do we have for materials? Titanium. The liner, I believe, is still steel. Yes. Steel nested liner, which is fine. It doesn't have to be titanium. We have, in this case, a DLC magnet cut blade. They chose the chalky DLC. Tactile, I think this is fine. In the future, you guys should definitely consider the satin DLC because it'll help with drag, right? And it won't show. A lot of people say, it's not DLC because you can see the scratches on it. I could wipe that off. In fact, I will here in just a bit to prove it to you, but it's just residue of what I've been cutting, like still on that chalky DLC. There's not actually any scratches in it. And then the blade steel, what is it? Magna Cut 6364. I could be wrong. I feel like somewhere they mentioned also having 20 CV as an option, which they also hit really high, but I could be wrong about that. It might just be Magna Cut. In any case, 6364, yeah, awesome. Hats off to you guys doing it right. People are going to love that. Weight, 2.7 ounces, which is amazing because you have a nearly 3.5-inch blade. Excellent ratios. We typically don't get ratios like that. The balance is back a ways, and that's because the blade is so incredibly thin versus the handle, which has a substantial amount of titanium versus the blade, right? Well, it's a substantial amount of material versus the blade. Not there's no titanium in the blade. Anyways, this comes in a few different configurations. You have the entry-level configuration, which is the least expensive and the one that I recommend the most, considering Magna Cut does not need to be coated, at least for corrosion resistance, because it's already insanely corrosion resistant. So you only buy the DLC version if you have to, right? So they have the standard entry-level version, which is just all stonewashed, and then you have like a darker gray handle one with some other finish on the blades, a little more expensive, and then you got this guy, which is $100 more than the entry version. $100 more for DLC is quite a bit. I think about 50 more for DLC makes a lot of sense, but I'm not here to nitpick their other versions, right? We kind of just judge the entry level version. So if you just like absolutely have to have DLC, it's probably going to bother you, but I'm really only going to judge the price on the entry level version. But ergonomically, it is very, very comfortable. I think it's even more, partially it's because it's bigger, but like these edges have almost been like radiused. It's so nice. I mean, it's almost contoured. Tactile does a great job with the texturing on the titanium. It looks really, really good. I love how the pivot looks, right? It's very simple. A lot of people define this as minimal or boring minimal. Tactile's always done that. This has always been kind of the same look. They also have like the pen wing, which is separate, but it's under the Tactile umbrella. Like you have that minimal kind of like, it looks like something that you would take with you while golfing, or while, eating dinner with family, friends, a client, whoever, right? Going to church. It looks like something that you would carry in that setting. And I think that's what they've always gone for. I appreciate that. It says Tactile in small text right there. The fit and finish on the knife, just absolutely amazing. They do a really, really good job. The cutting bevel, even all the way out to the tip, really nice. Very thin and very slicey. I'll let you guys take a look at there's not a lot of plunge grind here, right? And so sharpening this is going to annoy some people. Other people won't care nearly as much. But your jimping back here on the spine of the blade is nice. Feel locked in. Don't feel like I'm going to drop the knife. The texturing is absolutely meaningful. It's definitely not trivial texturing. So I like that. Backside of the knife, super nice. Love that sleek pocket clip. This is pretty tight. Sometimes, depending on your pant material, you might have to fight it a little bit. But I do love how it carries. For example, like today I'm wearing athletic pants, and it's pretty easy to get this into the pocket. And it also carries well in athletic pants or athletic shorts. It's very, very lightweight. But if you're wearing cargo shorts or jeans or something with a thicker pocket seam, you're going to have to fight it just a little bit. So I wish they would back off on that pocket clip tension there a little bit, but it's fine. The fact that it rides on the texturing is not really a big deal. I also wish that they would offer an option for lefties, like they have like the slot-in style clip. And I really wish that they would just make the thing symmetrical and then allow lefties to mount it, because I mean, I'm right-handed, but I can manipulate this pretty easily with my left hand. Have to imagine some left-handed people would be the same. Perhaps they make left-handed models and I'm not aware of it, but I don't think that they do. Let's see here. Your lockup, completely and totally solid. no issues there. It's a liner lock. It doesn't need to survive more than that. And if you think it does, I would say you're probably not using your knife correctly. You should try a hammer, a pry bar, or whatever it is that you're doing with your knife. You should try something different. But some light spine taps will not cause it to disengage. So if you end up in a situation, a realistic scenario where you have got the blade stuck in whatever you're cutting and you're trying to wobble it back out, creating some unintentional spine pressure, you don't have to worry about it disengaging. Mine, at least, is not. And the thumb stud one. So somebody, this is interesting. Somebody told me on that note to squeeze on the frame and see if it caused my lock bar to disengage. And the very first time that I did it, it disengaged. And I immediately messaged the guy back and I said, oh my gosh, it did. I've been unable to recreate that since then. I cannot get it to do that. And at the same time, I also can't get this to disengage with the spine pressure. So I'm wondering if I didn't have it, like if it maybe was like only partially engaged when I did it. But yeah, I don't know. So you guys can test that for yourself, unless I misunderstood his instructions. He said to squeeze right here on the frame. I can't get it to do it again. So to that gentleman who talked with me in the comments about his original one, it happened the first time, and now I can't get it to do it again, and it seems to be fine. But this one, definitely not the case. Locks up just fine. Feels good. No blade play up, down, left to right. No lock stick. No double clutch. No pivot lash. It's smooth, but you can hear it. See? That's what I mean. Even with the KPL. I imagine that this will work itself out, just like the other one did, but I don't know. But we're not judging the DLC one. I mean, for people who want the DLC one, you might be a little disappointed in that. I don't know if the standard one's going to feel like that. What is the entry price for this knife? It's $329. Is that fair? Well, let's compare apples to apples. Do we compare with Kershaw USA? No, we do not, because Kershaw is mass-producing knives. They are a massive shop. And they have a few things that are outsourced, right? They make some super high quality knives. They are also not making that. They're like, but MagnaCut but Kershaw uses MagnaCut, the same thing. This is titanium. As soon as you make whatever your favorite Kershaw USA knife is, as soon as you put a substantial amount of titanium on it, a lot of people are always shocked to see what that does to the price. There are a few titanium Kershaws that exist out there, and the price goes way up. So you can't compare it to aluminum. You can't compare it to my Carter or G10 with steel liners. The titanium's going to cause the price to go up. On top of that, this is a much smaller shop. They are making these things in much smaller batches, and there are many more manual processes involved. They probably also hand tune and hand assemble them, and it wouldn't surprise me if the blades are hand sharpened, but I don't know that for sure. This is, again, like other companies that would be unfair to compare with are Spyderco and Benchmade, although hilariously enough, Benchmade prices their knives as if they are made the same way as Tactile. And they're much more expensive. Like Benchmade's titanium stuff tends to be ridiculously expensive. I mean, like, look at the Narrows, right? The Narrows does not deserve to be that price tag. And it is, comparatively, this is a superior product, right? But anyways, $329. A lot of people are going to say it's too boring for that price tag. Well, boring or interesting are subjective terms, and they have absolutely nothing to do with manufacturing costs or labor costs, right? It's all just people's individual opinions. So that we throw that out the window, and you just decide that for yourself. Does it look good or does it not look good? Great. So if you're in the side of the fence, you say it looks good, I like it, right? Is it a fair price tag? I think it is. I think this is much more in line with, well, I don't think these are as high quality as something like a Hinderer knife. Like a Hinderer knife from the factory definitely feels a lot more polished. It's a lot more expensive, and it's not full titanium. And I don't know how Hinderer heat treats their MagnaCut. But we're much more in like the TRM, like TRM I think is a pretty good, a fairly good comparison. I think ProTech, even though they do a lot more aluminum, like we're still, smaller shop. They're getting bigger. Like they have higher, I think, manufacturing capabilities. And then, you're kind of in that same, like, it's not the same thing as Les George or Demco, right? But it also kind of is. So $329, they're less than some of their competition, more than some of their competition, but I don't think it's a bad price. $329. I mean, I think anybody who says that price is ridiculous and it should be, those guys who say that should be $100 or whatever, it should be less than $100. None of those people have ever gone out to make their own knives, start their own business, buy the machines required, right? Get the materials, get the tolerances correct, and make a quality identical product for less. They can't do it because either they're like, I was just like typing angry things in the comments, or they try and then find out, holy crap, this is really expensive to do, right? So we don't have a lot of small batch USA companies compared to like Chinese companies. We don't have a lot of them because people figure out it's not easy to do. It's not cheap to do, and you have to end up with a product that people want, right? I think Tactile does a good job with this. Typically, I don't think the Chupacabra was very good. But I think they typically do a good job with this, and I think this is a pretty good product. I'm actually all in favor of this being larger versus the original. I just really want you guys to make a thumb stud version, and I want you to give us more room than this, and I want the thumb stud to be more comfortable, and that would kind of be my ultimate design. But so, base version of this knife, recommendable at $329. A small bump up for the other finish if you want to. I think the $100 extra for the DLC is a bit wacky. I think it would have been a lot cooler in satin DLC. That's just my opinion. And $50 markup seems like it would have been fair. But okay, you can ignore that and go with the standard if you want. All the way around though, I think this is a good product. I think that if you pick this up, you'll really enjoy it. It's a high quality American product, and it especially is going to be appealing to people who want to support small batch USA companies making knives, but don't want to pay, some of the $400, $500, $600, $700 price tags that we see with a lot of the other small batch USA companies. So, recommended knives playlist for sure. Links for this in the description. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.